You might have heard that everyone should be doing Roth conversions this year, but have you wondered why and whether you should be doing one as well? There are tons of benefits to Roth conversions, including acting as a cure for what we call the children's penalty. More on that later. Why do a Roth conversion in the first place? Well, the main reason is to pay taxes at a lower tax bracket now compared to later. So how do you know if you're in a lower tax bracket? Well, tax rates are relatively low right now, historically speaking. And while we don't have a crystal ball, most economists agree that they don't think taxes are gonna go down from here. And secondly, if you're anything like our clients, then you have really big RMDs waiting for you down the line, which means you'll be forced into a higher tax bracket when those RMDs start or as they get bigger. Not to mention, if you're on Medicare Part B, your premiums could go up substantially as well. Remember, premiums for Part B are based off of taxable income. That's called IRMA, income-related Medicare adjustment amount. We've worked with families who have been able to save roughly $6,000 annually just in Medicare premiums by doing Roth conversions earlier in their retirement. If they live to be 90, they'll have saved over $100,000 just on Medicare premiums. That doesn't even include tax savings. Plus, Roth conversions can act as the remedy to the children's penalty that I talked about a minute ago. So how do we fix these problems? Roth conversions might make sense for you to do along the way, especially when you're first retired and your income slightly goes down. But you might actually consider doing Roth conversions in a year like this one, where you have the ability to do discounted Roth conversions. How? This is because as your pre-tax account drops in value, the amount being converted to Roth represents a larger percentage of your overall account. This results in a larger portion of your entire wealth moving to tax-free status. And then when they are there, they have the opportunity of growing completely tax-free when the market goes back up. Note that you can't actually do this inside the TSP. The traditional TSP does not allow you to convert to the Roth, and you have to move money from the TSP to an IRA, then from the traditional IRA, perform the Roth conversion into a Roth. Don't try to move your money straight from the traditional TSP to a Roth IRA. Okay, so once it's inside the Roth, you no longer have RMDs on that money. And if you did that in a year when markets were discounted, now you get to ride the growth of the markets again in tax-free status, like we talked about. And this can be a real game changer. For instance, let's say you have to buy a car for $50,000. Well, if you have to tap a traditional retirement account, you have to take out $50,000 plus ordinary income tax. So that could be as much as $70,000 that has to come out of your portfolio to pay for the car. If it's in a Roth, then you don't owe a single dollar of taxes on that money. Okay, so let's address the children's penalty. A few years ago, there was a law that passed called the Secure Act. And among many things that it did, one of the real contested things and questionable things they did was create a law that requires children inheriting retirement assets to distribute the entire account and pay taxes on the entire amount within 10 years. And so think about, when do people generally inherit money from their parents? Usually when they're in their highest peak earning years. So if they inherit a ton of money from a retirement account that now they owe taxes on, imagine how much more money they have to add onto their taxable bracket because they have to get all that money out within 10 years. This could mean that they're essentially locked into a high tax bracket for basically a decade. So the inheritance that you left has suddenly gone almost half to taxes. Now the rule states that it has to be taken out by the 10th year. It doesn't have annual requirements, so that leaves a little bit of room for flexibility. But for the most part, the goal of this was to maximize the taxes that the IRS would be receiving. So in order to preserve the wealth and the legacy that you're leaving for your kids, this is something that Roth conversions can help to address before that happens. Now this means that you've got to be ahead of this. If you wait until it's RMD age, you're likely too late. There might be some things that we can still do, but you get the best chance of maximizing this the more time you have. If your retirement plan is projecting that you're gonna leave substantial pre-tax retirement money to your kids, then you really need to be talking about this with your family. And if you're younger, you should be talking to your parents about this. We found most financial planners are not addressing this with their families, and it's a huge oversight, creating a problem that will happen down the line. Now, eventually you'll likely have to take RMDs, but even with Roth conversions, RMDs still require very careful planning, and we talk about these various considerations in this video that's coming up on the screen right now, so make sure you check that out. Until next time, stay wise and stay wealthy.